Okay, now that we have shaken everybody up, let's move into our lesson. Today, we're going to talk about the fact that Sunday is a mindset. Sunday, say after me, Sunday is a mindset. Remember, as he thinks in his heart, so is he. So thank God it's Sunday. Thank God it's Sunday is not about escaping work. What some people immediately think about when they hear, thank God it's Sunday. Thank God I don't have to go to work. Thank God the dealership's closed. Thank God the business is closed. But you know, my boss, he may want me to come in next Sunday. You know, in certain businesses, they're wide open and they treat Sunday like any other day. Now, think of a company like Chick-fil-A. What do they do on Sundays? I'll let you think for a minute. What do they do on Sundays? Well, they're definitely not frying any chicken. They close on Sundays. Now, I was thinking about this, and I started not to share it. But the Lord said, share this because it's a testimony. One time, I was in Colorado, and we saw a mall with a big, beautiful mall in south of Denver. We were there on vacation for a little bit, spending a few days with my wife's parents who were then alive. And we walked by Chick-fil-A and I noticed it was closed. And Chick-fil-A was the only restaurant in the mall that was closed on Sundays. Why? People like to walk through the mall on Sunday. They say, thank God it's Sunday. Let's go eat some ice cream. Let's go eat some pretzels. Let's go eat some peanuts or butter pecan or whatever you're going to eat, you know. In the middle of the mall, they normally have these little goodie stands with that low-calorie food. But Chick-fil-A was closed, and I started talking to someone about it, and they said, yeah, they did everything in their power to get Chick-fil-A open on Sunday, but Truett Cathy said, we will not be in your mall if we have to open on Sunday. Now, I thought that's a pretty strong stance, because not only is he leaving money on the table, he's losing business to his competitors. Because guess what? If you're not hungry, if you're hungry, whether you like Chick-fil-A or not, and they're not open, what are you going to do? I'll eat a hamburger or some churches or some Popeyes or something. You're going to eat whatever is open. Maybe something healthy like Chinese food, if it's healthy. The American Chinese food is not too healthy, by the way, because they take a heaping, helping of food and make it American. And Asian people tend to eat less. But back to my point, Chick-fil-A was closed. So the guy said, well, we can't have you in our mall. And the story says, Truett Cathy said, let's try it for 6 months and let's compare our profits to the profits of our competitors. They did it for 6 months. And Truett, Mr. S. Truett Cathy, proved to the world that you can be closed on Sunday and still grow richer, because they outperformed on paper every business around them. Now that's proven, that's scientific. In fact, what we teach in Thank God It's Sunday is proven stuff, it's scientific stuff. But some people are so afraid of God that they don't want to prosper. I don't want anything with God. I hear some people, even when I say, thank God it's Sunday training. Oh, don't call it that. Call it TGI-Sunday. As one executive asked me. I said, well, I could call it TGI. I like that better than thank God. To acknowledge God is just too much for America. Peace. Okay, I'm coming at you with both barrels, but we're going to make this practical. And here's what they found with Chick-fil-A. Being closed on Sunday, they made more money than the other restaurants and businesses that were open on Sunday. So they said, go ahead and open your restaurant. And I walked by the store on a Sunday evening, and saw lights out. Chick-fil-A is closed. But they said, we'll make more in 6 days than the competitor makes in 7 days. Does that tell you something? I did this training in one business where the dealer was a Christian, and I won't go into talking about him by exposing his privacy. But we taught this concept, and I was the original corporate trainer, hired basically most all the people and trained them. And in 10 years, we sold that business for $75 million. They'll tell me he wasn't profitable. And you know what the company that bought it, a publicly trading company, said? We are buying the culture. We're buying the culture. And I was invited in to the chief operating officer's office, and he says, tell me, how did you guys build this culture? And I went through everything we did. We spent about 2.5 hours showing him how we did it. And he said, that's interesting. We don't do things that way. I said, well, that's how we did it. And guess what they did? They probably did about 40% of what we did, and the business started to lose ground. But we had built so strongly into the DNA of the business that it's still a profitable business. So the concepts of thank God it's Sunday work. It's not about escaping work. Say Sunday is not about escaping work. Well, what is it about? Well, stay tuned and we'll show you. We are studying Thank God It's Sunday, and we are going to have 12 weeks, this is week 1, of personal renewal and transformation. Why 12 weeks? Well, it's going to take about that long to cover the basis of what is in this book. Thank God It's Sunday, the Gospel of Customer Service. By the way, you can get a copy by going to Amazon.com. All right, so today, let's talk about Sunday is a mindset. Thank God It's Sunday is not about escaping work, as we said. It's about approaching life with purpose, gratitude, and service. So when you approach life with purpose, gratitude, and service, things are going to happen and you're going to prosper. Sunday represents renewal, joy, and alignment with higher values. What do you think about on Sundays? You say, well, I think about what I think about every day. But don't you sense that it's a day of higher values? It's a day, I believe, that God wants us to hit the reset button. And Sunday is also the first day of the week. A lot of people think Monday is. No, Monday is the first work day typically, but Sunday is the first day of the week. I was talking to my wife. I said, in certain states, car dealerships by law cannot open on Sunday. That shows where America used to be. Now, I'm not trying to say anything about, well, Sunday being a Sabbath, or Sunday being holy, or Sunday being some deeply religious day. I'm just saying God said in his word, 6 days shalt thou work. And God even worked 6 days creating the heavens and the earth and rested on the Sabbath day. Now, if God did that, what do you think? God was tired? You say, if I did all that creating, I would be tired. Well, God, I believe, was teaching us symbolically that we need to take a day and renew a day and strengthen ourselves with joy, because the joy of the Lord is our strength, and to have alignment with higher values. One thing about Sunday is the day I think you should look back on your week at what you accomplished, what you didn't accomplish, and think about the week to come and set new goals. See, Sunday is a setup day for success. But if you're grinding, you rise and grind all day Sunday and you're working all day Sunday, you don't have that Sabbath or that sabbatical. Now, I'm not talking about Seventh-day Adventists or, going to church on Saturday. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a principle that Chick-fil-A promises their employees. With Chick-fil-A, Truett Cathy, I met Mr. Cathy personally, spent a whole week out there with his business, the founder, the original founder. His son Dan runs it now. He said he never wanted people to have Sunday off because of religious reasons alone. He said Sunday, when a person has time for family, time for reflecting, time to go hang out on the lake, go golfing, or do anything and not worry about work, he found that productivity went up when they came back. What does it feel like when you have a great day off, that's a full day off of refreshing, and you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I like to read on Sundays and listen to my favorite music and just chill out and rewire and hit again that reset button. What do you mean when it's a reset button? A reset button wipes out everything that's done and takes you back to ground zero or to level. So it brings stability because it's a time of renewal, of joy, and alignment with higher values. And I'm going to give you 3 key principles, 3 key points that will help you to improve the quality of your life by understanding the concept, thank God, it's Sunday. We are sharing some from and about my book, Thank God It's Sunday, The Gospel of Customer Service. And we are sharing not so much the content as the principles. Now, there are 3 key points I want you to take away today. Number 1 is this: your mindset determines how you experience every environment. We are saying that Sunday is a mindset. Do you know that your attitude controls your altitude? It's your attitude, not your aptitude. And your attitude is your mindset or your way of thinking. And your mindset determines how you experience every environment. See, you can put a person in an environment that's negative, and that if that person is positive enough and can maintain PMA, positive mental attitudes, he will lift the mindset of even other people around him. So number 1, your mindset, your Sunday mindset, because remember I'm saying Sunday is a mindset. Say after me, Sunday is a mindset. Your mindset determines how you experience your environment. Why? Our text says, as he thinks in his heart, so is he. I was talking to some people about profit in the automotive business, and we were talking about gross. And gross is gross profit. And I basically said, holding gross is a mindset. You hold gross, it's psychological because you understand the mindset of negotiating. Mindsets will help you through tough times. Like you can be in a place you don't like, or driving a car you don't necessarily like, but have the mindset, thank God, it's paid for. I remember a bumper sticker in Alaska. The guys that had old beat up cars would have that bumper sticker often that says, don't laugh, it's paid for. I'm laughing all the way to the bank. Point number 2, key point number 2, are you enjoying this? Is gratitude changes pressure into opportunity. Now we're talking about the Sunday attitude, and one thing we want to do on Sundays and with the Sunday concept and even the literal day is have an attitude of gratitude, of thankfulness, because gratitude changes pressure into opportunity. Okay, let's use the car for an illustration. When I was in Bible college, I didn't have a car and I was taking the bus. Someone just reminded me, I even forgot, a lady said you used to jump off of the bus and have to walk up to the Bible college, and we'd see you walking and pick you up sometimes. Well, a guy said, if you want a car, I'll give you one for a dime. And when I saw it, it was worth about a dime. It was, I think it was a 1971 or something like that, Ford Pinto that looked like it had been rolled 10 times. All of the lock cylinders were busted. You couldn't lock the door up. And the tailgate, it had a hatchback that you closed down, would fly open while I'm driving. And I had a bungee cord, that's a rubber cord, hooked to the door, to the gear, or whatever else I could hook it to stretch it, to keep the door from flying open, because the door had no cylinder. By the way, back in those days, I don't know what it's like now in Alaska, but they let you drive anything. That thing shouldn't even have been on the road. It was like a rolling time bomb. My wife wouldn't even ride in it. And I'll never forget when I pulled up in the thing and the people at work saw it. They just started laughing at my car, and my nephews and all were laughing at it. But that car helped me through at least Bible college to the point that I got a decent job and I went and got a nice car. The nice car I got wasn't that much money, but compared to that Pinto. But anyway, if you're driving a bad car, a beater, as it were, a piece of junk, why don't you have the attitude, I'm driving my new Mercedes-Benz. I'm driving my new Lexus. This is not a Pinto. This is a Lambo. Pinto Lambo. You say, well, that's kind of extreme. Well, you can be riding down the road in that Ford Taurus, but imagining that you're driving a Tesla, if you like those cars. So what are we saying? Gratitude changes pressure into opportunity. Because when you get grateful about the car you have, when you said, thank God for this car, it beats walking, the pressure now becomes an opportunity for growth. And point number 3, purpose gives ordinary work external significance. Purpose, when you have purpose, and the purpose we have in Thank God It's Sunday, the gospel of customer service is serving. Serving is the purpose. So you could say serving gives ordinary work eternal significance. See, no matter what you do, I believe that in a company or an organization, we need to stop treating people certain ways because of their status. See, we were the guys washing the cars, but with National Car Rental, if that car wasn't clean and the customer experienced it, the boss didn't get it. Well, my boss would come out and help us wash cars. He'd roll up his sleeves and wash cars himself and shovel snow. He taught me how to serve. But the boss in most companies, they're in the ivory tower and they're just threatening to fire the guys because these cars better be clean or heads are going to roll. Well, what I'm saying is, I represent the guy in the ivory tower, no matter what my job is. The person cleaning the bathrooms, the janitors, the cooks, the persons doing the manual labor are very important. In fact, in kingdom theology and kingdom philosophy, the greatest is the servant, not the head, not the chief boon coon, but the person that's serving. So we're talking about 3 key points you need to understand. Number 1, your mindset determines how you experience every environment. Number 2, gratitude changes pressure into opportunity. And number 3, purpose gives ordinary work eternal significance. So you go from labor, just doing a manual job, to doing something that's significant because there are no small jobs. Thank God it's Sunday. We are sharing Thank God It's Sunday, and we're talking about the Sunday mindset. And now I want to share something directly from the book. When I wrote the book originally, I wrote, let me double check myself here, 12 chapters. And it told the story of Thank God It's Sunday, the gospel of customer service. In the new upgraded version, we added chapters 13, 14, 15, and 16. And chapter 13 is training activation. In fact, all the chapters after 12 in the new book are chapters on training. Because one thing I realized is this. I had a good story. Even Ken Blanchard says, you got a good little book here, a parabolic based on a true story. But I didn't have enough implementation or application, and maybe it was good for then. The original book was written 23 years ago. So now in this upgrade, we have what's called the Sunday experience, from success to significance. Now remember, we talked about significance. Now I want to look at this workshop and not go through everything, because if you attended a live training, we have a syllabus with all this material, and we go over it with workshops, role-playing, and so on. But we said workshop activation exercise. To fully activate the Sunday experience, reflect on the following. S is for serve. And we ask the question, where can I increase the level of value I provide? Now, no matter what you're doing, whether you're in a home, a church, or a business, ask yourself that question. Where can I increase the level of service I provide? The U in Sunday is to understand. And we said you should ask yourself, am I truly listening to people or just responding? Do you know that most bosses, business owners, leaders talk too much? If you learn to listen to your people more, you would have a lot more success at business. But I was working with some business people this week, and they talked and talked and talked and talked. And we talked for about 3 hours about nothing. Okay, I'm not trying to put people down, but why not listen more? And we definitely need to listen to our spouses. One of the most important things you could do in your marriage is listen. All right? Amen. Number 3, N is for nurture, and that's S-U-N. So the question is, how am I maintaining relationships after the transaction? And we talked about companies in the book that nurture, like Starbucks is good at nurturing. They put your name on the cup. They talk to you and call you by name when your beverage is ready. And they even have your name in the system when you scan your little QR code there. So, and they follow up. S-U-N-D. D is for delivery. And the question is, am I consistent in the experience I provide? One thing about customer service is consistency, consistency, consistency. And I learned this from Ken Blanchard in Raving Fans. He said, you must have systems and you must be consistent. So we're going over the workshop. A, S-U-N-D-A. Can we spell Sunday? A is for advance. And the question is, what skill level must I develop to grow my impact? What must I do to advance and grow? And finally, Y is for yield. Now, when you S-U-N-D-A, you get Y. When you serve, understand, nurture, deliver, and advance your skills, you get the yield, which is prosperity, because profit is the applause you get for taking care of your customer. You said, yeah, but I'm not even in customer service. We're all in customer service. No matter who you are, if anyone is depending on you, that person is your customer. We had a debate recently, should churches have customer service training? And one guy said, well, churches don't have customers. This is not commerce. Yeah, we do. The parishioners are your customers. Now, how many of you pastors have trained your people in customer service? Maybe you should get, thank God, it's Sunday, the Gospel of Customer Service. 2 of the largest churches in Atlanta, World Changers Church, Creflo Dollar's church, and New Birth, got some of our materials and participated with one. I went out there about 8 times and did trainings. The other bought books for all their top staff, the same book. Smart leaders that build great ministries realize you got to serve your guests like customers, all right? The Y is yield. Did I tell you that? Yeah, I told you, but I didn't ask the question, I believe. What results is the question, am I currently producing? What results am I currently producing? Now, that's a workshop that we put you in either a live or an online training through, and along with, imagine going through about 8 such workshops, along with being trained in the gospel of customer service and understanding the story. So we don't just want, well, information. We want information. We want application. We want activation, because we want implementation. Thank God it's Sunday. Sunday is a mindset. Well, thank you so much for joining me as we have studied, thank God it's Sunday, the Gospel of Customer Service. And we talk about the Sunday mindset. Sunday is a mindset. Now, this will be, if the Lord permits, a 12-part series. So we've gone through part 1. Hook up with us next week and let's continue to study and to grow. Visit us on the World Wide Web at prevailingwordnow.com. And if you want to support us, go to the Giving tab and make a rich donation. Million is spelled M-I-L-L-I. I hadn't said that one in a while. No, any gift you give is appreciated. We believe we receive abundance, and we believe as you give, it's given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. And if you want to give by mail, it's Prevailing Word Pavilion, P.O. Box 724, Swanee, Georgia 30024. Thank you in advance for your giving. Say after me, as I give, it is given unto me, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Now act on that giving and help us to share the gospel with the world. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Again, the website is prevailingwordnow.com. Thank you for hooking up with us and studying. And remember, go to amazon.com and get your copy of Thank God It's Sunday. By the way, we have it in Audible, which is an audio book, which I'm so excited about because faith comes by hearing. You can make your car a university on wheels and listen to the Audible book and listen to it in your device, your iPad, or whatever kind of computer you have. Well, gotta go. May God expand your life until your destiny is fulfilled. And I want your destiny fulfilled. Thank God it's Sunday. Most people don't fail in life because they don't have potential. They fail because they don't have structure for their week. They start strong on Monday, lose focus by Wednesday, and try again next week. Well, that cycle is what I wanted to break, and that's why I wrote a book called Thank God It's Sunday. Because Sunday is not just a day of worship. It is a reset point for your entire life. Inside the book, I show you how to reset your mindset every week, refocus your priorities, and build consistent momentum that actually lasts. Not motivation for a moment, but structure for a lifestyle. If you're tired of starting over, if you're ready to finally build consistency, then this book is for you. We're on a mission to put this into 1,000 hands this month. If that speaks to you, grab your copy right now. The link is right here.
He'll remind you, I know the plans I have for you, to bring you peace with an expected end, unexpected end, for you know I has seen or ear has heard the joy in store for your expected